One. Hello, welcome to the Breaking Free podcast. I'm your host, Nathan Francis. Today, very grateful, well, tonight for Matty, very grateful, very humbly joined by Matty Denz again. We were just saying off air, 2 years since our last chat. Matty's a coach as well. He's done a lot of cool shit in the last 2 years. We're just talking about some real personal stuff that we're going to share a bit of that today. So, Matty, welcome back to my show. You're in New York. What's going on?
Yeah.
How you been? Been a
Yeah.
while.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, brother. Happy to be back. It's crazy that it's been 2 years.
Yeah.
Time flies when you're not telling lies, right?
Yeah.
We're not living lies.
No.
Yeah, I'm in the same spot in New York. Big change actually since the last time I was on. I opened up my own Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu gym.
Love it.
So I just had my 1 year in January, and
Yep.
that was a huge shift and change for me. Having the online presence and coaching is totally different than a brick and mortar business and insurance, overhead, dealing with children and their parents. All good things, of course, but certainly different than, hey, I have my own Instagram and Facebook pages that I'll speak my mind out. And if somebody comes across my content and likes it and finds me as a coach, then I have no problems working with them. I had to be a little more reserved, if you will, um, with
Yep.
some of the things that I share, for better or for worse. And I did pull back a lot, actually.
Okay.
For a while, I don't know if you noticed, but for a while, it was about not the November we just had, but like November of, what would that have been, 2023. From about November 2023, and then I opened up the gym in January 2024. And then a few months of that year, I was kind of out of the game in terms of content creation, out of the game in terms of even feel. I don't want to say I lost the wind in my sails, but I was kind of just, hey, what's the point? What's the point anymore?
Yeah.
Almost like what Jason was saying, right? Where you move on to certain things and you get away from trying to just tell people the truth about stuff. And um, but you can only keep me so far. I mean, you can only keep me away for so long, right?
Yeah.
I certainly enjoy making those videos and speaking my mind and trying to display and show for other people what you can do in terms of finding your own strength in your voice and speaking your mind. And especially as a man, like the big thing for me was becoming a father, that there wasn't a battleground for me to go charging onto and start slaying the evil. Like I'm a fighter, and that when I became a father, it was like, well, shit, there's so much evil in this world. I want to go fight it and protect my son. And the way that I found was to, that feeling of like, well, what can I do?
Hmm.
And having a creative outlet, um, being a drummer, and I used to make videos and songs and beats and whatnot. So I'm used to kind of editing certain things. And I said, well, I'm going to just start speaking my mind and making videos. I never really called myself a content creator, but I guess I am, you know, in my own right at this point. I post pretty regularly. But yeah, it's funny. It's really, the truth matters, and it
Hmm.
matters as it relates to your health. Truth and health go hand in hand. And if we're going to speak directly to the boys soon to become men, hopefully, of the world, what you say and how you present yourself matters, and you have to
Yeah.
be standing strong in your principles and what you find to be what your calling is. And for me, it was, well, I have to do this. I can't not speak my mind about these topics that I see as so ass backwards.
Hmm. Yep.
And yeah, so that's where I'm at now. I have my gym. I still make my videos. I've been a little more business minded with it. Jason Christoph has certainly helped me tremendously with that. And it feels good to make a video and get a bunch of views, right?
Hmm.
And get a bunch of likes, know that you're engaging people. But I've since learned that I'd rather have a video that if it has seen by 100 people, that 100 people answer my call to action on. And of those 100, maybe I get 10 to work with me.
Hmm.
I could care less about, it's funny how things change. I wanted a viral meme. Well, I've made a viral meme. I wanted videos that had 1 million views. I have videos that have 1 million views. I wanted to gain followers. Well, I have over 100,000 followers between my platforms. None of that stuff really matters. It doesn't. The impact that I'm having on people and them able to change their lives for the better is what matters to me.
Yeah, that's a good
And
one.
and, and that's it. Sorry, my little guy over here is squeaking. I don't know
Nah,
if
it's
he's coming
okay.
up on the mic, but
Nah, I can't hear him. He's fine. Matty, for those that
um,
don't know, has another little one. He's sleeping right next to him, which is pretty cool.
yeah, yeah, 6 weeks old. And
That's so cool.
you want to talk about health and truth. That was an experience with the general, as I called her, the doctor that came
Yeah, you're
parading into
messaging
the
me. You're
room.
messaging me about it, like in the moment.
Oh, was I? Yeah, I don't know
Yeah,
who that's great. Oh, that's right. We were
yeah,
talking about that.
yeah. You're messaging me as it was happening. I'm like, far out, bro.
Yeah, God forbid you try and tell a lady in a white butcher coat that you don't want to inject your son with poison the day he's born.
Mm. How did
So,
that all?
and,
That's
and her work, and it's just funny, right? For that specific story,
yeah,
um, she comes back in the room because I told the other doctor, it was a younger doctor, and I said, "Yeah, we're not doing any of that stuff, and do we have to sign off?" I played dumb, not like ignorant, but I just played off like, oh yeah, so if we don't want to do that, we have to sign something, right? Not you don't want to be combative, right? You got to know how to navigate
yes. Well
the
said.
programmed world, the the deeper seated programs when you're dealing with the authority figure that is hook, line, and sinker
Yeah.
carrying the torch of that program. You have to tread carefully.
Mm.
And so I didn't even speak to the one general, as I called her, this older woman, just because I knew better to directly go to her. And I said something to the younger doctor about they had already known that we weren't doing the Hep B, which is just ridiculous.
Yeah.
Um, and so it's called erythromycin eye ointment, and they smear it in your baby's eyes the moment they're born, and it's for a potential gonorrhea and chlamydia infection, which is a sexually transmitted disease, which your baby may get if it's a vaginal birth. And like last time I checked, my wife and I don't have gonorrhea or chlamydia, and and there's like just no reason. It's a it's like a prophylactic too. Like it's just there's just no point in doing this. And so I said that to the one doctor, and she's like, "Okay, yeah, you'll sign off on that too." I said, "All right, cool." 2 minutes later, like Darth Vader with the music, she's first through the door, and then they all get in rank file next to her, and like they're it's just so funny how it all plays out. And I'm sitting in the chair, and she walks in, and then my wife is in the bed like perpendicular to the our eyesight is like this, and then my wife's bed is like that. And she kind of just like looks at me but doesn't acknowledge me, then turns, stands at the foot of the bed, hands in the pockets, and just goes, "So you're refusing now?" Like that's all she said.
Mm.
Like and I laughed out loud. Like it made me laugh. And my wife kind of looked, and she's like, "Refusing what?" Like, let's well, the erythromycin. And then I just chimed in right away. Because I was well rehearsed.
Yeah.
And I said, "Well, we're not refusing anything." I said, "We're choosing not to have the erythromycin ointment, which is a prophylactic for a potential gonorrhea and chlamydia infection, which my wife and I don't have gonorrhea or chlamydia. So what are we doing here? Like, why would we get that?"
Yeah.
And it was like, not a deer in headlights, but oh wow, I didn't expect the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu sweatpant wearing bearded guy to use a word like prophylactic
Yeah.
and and just kind of stand the ground and respectfully, not combatively. And
Mm.
then she went on her whole spiel, like the kind of like when you let a cop know that you know your rights, and then they go on to explain your rights to you and you not to break, not what you
Yep.
can and can't do. It's like, no, I know what I can and can't do. That's why I'm actually exercising my rights. She goes on to tell us about how, well, if you're refusing, she kept on saying the word refuse, man. Like they're just so
Yeah.
programmed.
Mm.
So anyway, that was that. You got to come prepared to stand your ground because they do want to trick you into not thinking that you know what you're talking about,
Yep.
and you got to be
100%.
strong in those moments.
Yep.
So yeah, my little guy, needless to say, to you who knows my content, but no shots, no injections, no vaccines, um, no dairy. The formula that they want to give, oh my God, Nathan,
Yeah.
bro. So I could go get it, the one from the hospital, actually. It's in the closet that they send you home with.
Is it
It
really?
it Give me one second, actually,
We'll
because
pause
I
this.
yeah.
Yep. So Maddie's come back. Maddie went and got the formula from the hospital. If you're watching on YouTube, you'll see it. If you're listening, we'll give you a good description of it. So Maddie, take it away. This is what they gave
Yeah.
you in the hospital, correct?
Yeah. So,
Yep.
well, this is the real crazy thing is that we had a formula. We don't give any of our children dairy. Um, I'm not anti like raw milk or anything,
I was about to
but
say raw dairy.
no, like, but it's for a child, an infant, like the all the formulas are dairy based for the most part,
Yep.
right? So, it's not going to be what you get from a raw, unpasteurized milk from a cow, at the local farm
Yeah.
by any stretch of the imagination.
No.
Um, and I do lean on my wife. She's a naturopathic doctor, and she's been,
Ah.
yeah. So a lot of dairy early on, that again, that not good milk, if you will, is linked
Yeah.
to asthma. A lot of the when they call babies colicky or all the mucus, like all of
Yep.
that is linked to this garbage dairy that they're getting
Oh, 100%.
unnecessarily. But so we have a formula that's a good, clean, non-dairy based, like hypoallergenic, just to if you're going to do formula, it's the one you would want to do.
Yep.
They don't let you bring it in. That's for one, right? The hospital's like, well, we have our protocols. And so
Really?
this is literally, well, the first time, so this is actually crazy. So my first son, they tell us that it's a dairy-free formula. Like this is how, don't get tricked into thinking you don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Okay.
They tried to give us a formula that had dairy in it that was actually called dairy free. And then you dig and you look in ingredients and you're like, no, that's actually dairy based. Oh. It's like, yo.
Yeah.
So you can't just trust these people, even when they say they're doing what they think they're following your instructions.
Mm.
So anyway, this is when I knew. So I don't know if you can really see it, but it
No,
doesn't
we
really
can a
matter.
little
It
bit. Yeah.
it, it doesn't matter. It's it's
Nah.
it's this neocate infant formula. This and my first yeah moment was when all I did was just punch it into Google right off the or whatever I use, my search engine on my phone as soon as I heard the name. And the first thing that came up was that it's sold in freaking Walmart.
Bullshit.
And I'm just like, yo, man, like my son can't be drinking this stuff.
Yep.
But let's get into the ingredient. Like, let's go to the videotape. Let's get into the ingredients here.
Yeah.
I'll give you one guess what the first ingredient is. I don't know if you're familiar with
I'm not familiar with
how
baby
they do.
formula, but I'm familiar with what's in it. I'm going to say carrageenan. Stuff
Not
is
even,
not even
not even.
carrageenan. Okay.
First listed ingredient coming
Sugar.
in at a whopping 54%. So 54% of what my baby should have been, according to them, eating to become healthy
Mm.
is corn syrup solids.
No
Corn
way.
syrup.
I was
Corn
right with
syrup, bro.
C. Corn syrup
Corn syrup
solids.
solids. Okay. And then what makes up the next 44%.
Fuck.
Okay. So 54% of what they tell you to feed your baby, if it's not breast milk, is corn syrup solids. Okay.
Yep.
And then the next 44% to make 98% of what you're feeding your baby is, you ready for this?
Yeah.
High oleic sunflower oil, canola oil,
Oh, no way.
yeah, and regular sunflower oil.
No. Feel
And then less than,
44
bro, 44% of the formula is seed
seed
oils.
oils.
54% of it is corn syrup solids. So GMO corn syrup is literally poison,
Yep.
like especially for men, like of try and avoid corn syrup is at all costs.
Yeah.
If you value your testosterone, and then less than 2% of like, well, we got some of this and that and
Yeah.
amino acids. It's like, so if it's a 98% shit sandwich, am I not eating shit? You know?
Yeah.
It's just wild. It's wild. And that's an example of just awareness. Like I tell people all the time, ingredients, you're not buying the product, you're not buying the label, you're not buying the advertising. You're buying and consuming what it is, and just read ingredients.
Yeah.
It's how I got out of it's how I got out of like the sodas and the sugar drinks. Because even when I was still, and this is going back, I haven't had a soda, a Coca-Cola, or like a Pepsi in 13 years.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
I would still end up getting like a ginger ale here and there until eventually it would just be like, oh, I'm craving ginger ale. It's like, no, when you go to grab that off the shelf, turn it around and read that the first ingredient is corn syrup. You're not drinking ginger ale. You're not having a soda. You are consuming corn syrup.
Mm.
For what? Because it tastes good, right?
Mm.
So it's like once you start bringing that type of awareness to what you're willing to put in your body, it's a practice. It takes some time, but that's for me how it started. And that's how I really help coach a lot of people. It's like, no, you got to bring the awareness and the identification of, remove the veil.
Yeah.
It's not a cookie. It's not a chip. Read the ingredients. It's
Mm.
that. That's what you're eating.
Yep.
Don't let the words and the packaging and the marketing. Oh, well, I'm a Pepsi guy. Well, I'm a Coke guy. Oh, I know. I like. It's like, no,
It's
we're
same,
all poison
same.
people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same, same.
Yeah. So
Just a quick question
yeah.
before we just circle off somewhere else. Just for a new, even this is going to go worldwide anyway, because I'm wild listeners all over the world. But for new parents out there, which there probably would be a few that listen to this and listen to us, just a question. So they've given you that crap. So what's the alternative? I don't think you said what the alternative was. So
Yeah.
if for those that
So
are listening, they'll be like, well, okay, well, Maddie, what's the alternative? What can
yeah.
they
So
get that's not going to poison the shit out of your baby?
yeah. So it's called pure amino.
I'll put that in the
Like,
show notes, I reckon.
yeah. I mean, but again, it's not. You're kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't. If it
Okay.
has to be formula,
Yep.
you know.
Yep.
Um, but
Just breast milk would
you
be good.
it it's the best, right? It's
Mm.
ideal.
Yep.
But sometimes that doesn't come in, or
Yeah.
some or the mom. Well, in terms of like we just didn't have a choice. It just never came in.
Yep.
My wife gave birth to an unbelievably healthy baby at she's 44. I mean,
Yeah.
that's another thing, guys. Your behaviors matter. I mean, I'm 45, she's 44, and I hate to say this because people really are struggling right now,
Mm.
but there are no fertility issues there with us.
Oh, wow.
She lives a very healthy lifestyle. I live a very healthy lifestyle, have for many years.
Hmm.
It wasn't, I mean,
Well, they say age
if
is
we met
just a
any younger,
number.
we'd probably have 100 kids, like,
And they say age is just a number.
yeah, yeah.
Wow, 45 and
Well,
44.
yeah, yeah. I had my
Yeah.
first child when I was 41 and she was 40.
Because they say in
We'll turn,
society, Matty, like they say, like, if you don't have a kid in your 30s, the chances, they put the fear in you, the chances drop. You know what I mean? Like, just more fear porn,
yeah.
really. Yeah.
Well, I mean, what do they say? Hey, I got no problems there, but hey,
Ah,
it's not by chance. I think that's the most important thing is that people sometimes want to act like, well, you're lucky or gee. It's like,
well, yeah.
no, you
Mm,
gotta look, you can't have it both ways. If somebody's doing things a certain way and then there's evidence to suggest that that mattered, well, then it absolutely did matter,
yeah.
you know? And then people want to act like it doesn't matter when they don't pay attention to those things or they are just mindlessly consuming. And then they don't want to blame that or take responsibility for that when things aren't going their way. But it's like you have to.
Mm,
You
yeah.
can't. Yeah. So I mean, we're done. We're not going to have any more children. Um, this pregnancy was pretty rough on her, and just
Yep.
yeah, we're done. Like I don't even, it's not even like, oh, I would want more. Like, oh, we're happy. We have two beautiful boys.
That's awesome.
But if any potential new parents are listening, um, my son is 4, completely unvaccinated, never had an ear infection, no dairy, never threw up, like never projectile vomited, no diarrhea, like none of that stuff.
Wow.
Wasn't colicky or screaming and crying all the time. Like it breaks my heart
Yeah.
to know because of the data and the evidence and you have to go off of your personal experience to know what I've seen in my own child, the the fact that these babies are the way they are because of the poison that gets put into
Yeah.
them. They can't
100%.
speak and say, "Hey, I don't feel so good right now because of poison inside of me." They scream and they cry and they fuss and they throw up and they have diarrhea
Mm,
and they don't sleep good. That's not normal.
nah.
It's not because literally, like, how many people? And now with my 6-week-old, like, oh, he's so good. He's so good. Well, yeah, you'd be surprised what happens when
Mm,
you don't,
yeah. 100%.
um, so, but that's we don't need to really dive too deep into that one. I am a very outspoken. Call me an anti-vaxxer all you want. Those anti or pro terms are just nonsense to begin with. But I'm very, as a father and as a truth seeker and speaker and content creator, I do not bite my lip at all when it comes to vaccines, or bite my tongue, I should say, um, because I have people that have messaged me and I've had a hand in them literally not vaccinating their children. And I say that happily and confidently,
Mm,
not like, oh, this isn't medical advice. I'm like, no, they'll be like, well, I'm like, don't do it. Do not, you don't have to do it. Don't do it. This is the information. These are resources. If you ever have any questions, come to me. Like, or sometimes it's the mother, but the husband's not really on board. I'm like, all right, here, show him this, send him this, let
mm,
him know, he can reach out to me anytime.
yep.
And I do that confidently because man, oh man, when you go,
What's the best resource? We might put one in the show notes too. What's the best resource out there? I just send them Jason Christoph's 100 documentary list.
same. The best resource for me is Jason Christoph.
Yeah.
I like that guy is awesome.
I'll put
And
a link
and
to Jason's blog. Jason wrote a blog and he put in there 105 documentaries about all the jabs. And yeah, just take your
yeah,
pick. They're all in there. Yeah.
literally, I tell people, hey, start listening to his podcast, or I send them specific podcasts. I said, go in the show notes. Look, that's one thing that I love that Jason does because
Yeah, all the info's
when
there.
you have the receipts, so to speak, or you have their sources and the links, and you can say, hey, go do. Most people don't do it. They don't go and do the work. They don't do the digging,
Hmm.
don't do your own research. But
Yep.
if you do, it's hard not to come to the same conclusions.
Correct.
You really have to be holding on to some deep programming and cognitive dissonance to actually do that work and then still hold the same position.
Yeah, I agree. We could talk about
And
all
that,
this for hours.
yeah, yeah, no, we could. Let's get into a little bit more, your audience, right? Some of the younger guys out there,
Yeah.
possibly, and something that's that is very prevalent in anyone I speak to, whether I'm
Yep.
coaching or just mentioning where I'm at with my journey. But porn,
Yeah.
you know, the and not even well, so porn is the porn is the gateway for their real what they really want, which is you just whoosh, releasing your seed left, right, and center
Yep.
all day long.
Yeah. That's literally what they
You know,
want.
use it or lose it.
Mm.
They don't teach you, no, hold on to it and transform it and harness it and savor it, save it. It's wild because the same ejaculation that literally created you and I and every other human being on the planet.
Mm. It's in
The average
tissues, it's
kid is
in
just, yeah,
socks.
yeah. The average, yeah, literally making jokes about it. Oh, I feel so much better now. It's like, really?
All the porn's based around it. Like the ending of it is just the shot. It's like the programming is insane, and
It is insane.
they don't teach young boys the fact that you can actually have non-ejaculatory orgasms and all those things. It's all about, well, the only way to finish for a guy is to actually release the seed. Well, no, it's not, because the power's with you. You have the choice, but you don't think you do, but you actually have the choice.
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you think?
Well, it's just it's all bad programming and nonsense when you really get down to the root of it. They
Yeah,
want men. Well, they don't want men, right? They want boys
correct.
because if they can stunt or inhibit the natural progression of a boy to a man, well, then no one's like, who do you want fighting and defending? And not a boy.
No.
Like if I'm a 45-year-old man, if a 10-year-old boy was like, yo, I'm gonna kick your ass, I'd laugh at him. So, so it's like they don't want men. And so I've said that one of the greatest ways that you can stunt a boy becoming a man is to just have him stuck in that pleasure, low vibrational state of lust and just expelling all that energy out of them.
Mm,
And because I hate to say it like this, but you're not a man if you're playing with yourself like a monkey and feel that you need to ejaculate every day.
yeah.
You're not. You're stuck in boyhood.
Mm.
That's boy thinking. That's low level. Oh well, or blue ball, blue ball. What a joke. There's no such thing.
No.
Like that's a program and a oh no. And then guys use that to trick their girlfriends into like, well, I want
Yes.
there's no such thing as blue ball. It's such a lie. Oh, a guy needs to ejaculate. I haven't ejaculated yet this year. I'm not walking around like, oh man, my nuts hurt.
No,
Come
because
on,
you're
honey.
using the energy, like that energy, you're using that in other areas of your life, correct?
Correct. Absolutely. And it's like any other momentum builder. You just
Mm.
start to think differently. You start to say, well, I haven't done it yesterday. It's like a discipline. It just, man, but it's a process.
It is,
So
because I found
it's,
the same thing as you. I'd often circle back during the last three
yeah,
years when I learned how to do it. Like we have needs, we have urges, right? Let's get into that. Like sometimes I would find my dick in my hand, as you said earlier. Like
of
I
course.
was the same because I was so used to doing that. But for me, it was an escape. That little boy just wanted
Yeah.
wanted attention, right? So for you, how was that for you? It was like I'd just be proud of myself if I got, 3 weeks. I'd be like, fuck yeah, 3 weeks. And then be like, well, I did it, but it's like, well, I've just lasted 3 weeks. So next time will be longer.
Yeah. Yeah. So the first time for me was the birth of my first son
Yep.
because I really, something does change in you. And I was already a coach and a disciplined man. I think I was a man already, but I'm big on this idea of like, when did I really become a man? Like, um, because in hindsight, I look at behaviors and I could be like, no, that's a boy. That's what boys do. I wasn't a man yet. Even though I was 41 years old and had my first child, I'm not sure if I was really a man yet based on my maybe I'm
Yeah.
being too critical on myself too. I am a bit of a, yeah, I'm not hard on myself, but I hold myself to a standard. And I'm like, no, I'm not
So
going to
do
just sit
I.
here and be like, well, I was a man, I did Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and Muay Thai and I can fight and I work out and I'm disciplined and, that makes me a man. It's like, no, man, not if I was still doing boy stuff.
Mm.
And so, yeah, my son was born and something just shifted where I wanted to be the best version of myself just for the fact that I'm now a father. And part of that was this idea of like semen retention. And well, that's what these people talk about. And there's got to be value there. And I never really explored that. And I was still watching porn, right? So how could I call myself a man if I'm like watching porn and jerking off all the time, even though I have a
Yeah.
wife?
Mm.
Like that's not what men do. So you could think you're a man, but if you're not doing what men do, then you don't get to call yourself a man. Like, right? Like, doesn't that logically just make sense?
Yep.
Like, oh no, I'm a man, but I act like a boy sometimes. No, you can't, you don't get to have the title until you are a man. Men don't do what boys do. It's like the butterfly doesn't do what a caterpillar does. It's no longer that.
Mm.
So until you are no longer doing what your boy self did, you don't get to call yourself a man. You just don't. And you have to be able to look yourself in the mirror and say, am I a man? And if I'm not, okay, what do I need to start doing? What do I need to stop doing? And let me get that path going. And so for me, yeah, it was a big shift. I started, I was like, I wouldn't even put the hot water dial on in the shower. Oh no, cold showers is a thing and the cold water immersion therapy. I'm like, no, I don't need any hot water. Like I did a lot of not like whipping yourself, whatever they call that in the religious circles. I wasn't doing that. I wasn't like trying to suffer just to suffer, but I was challenging myself and becoming more disciplined in a lot of things and trying to make the right choices based on things that I knew were tough. And then, yeah, so part of that was, hey man, I gotta stop just jerking off just to feel good when I ejaculate and come
Mm.
and like watch people having sex on a screen. Like I just
Yeah.
knew better. I knew better, but I didn't bring any awareness to it. And every now and then, maybe you feel like what do they call that? The post nut clarity.
Yeah.
You get, and I'm like, and you just feel like, what the hell did I just do? What was the point of that, man? Like, what are you doing? So, but you have to connect to that because people avoid that or they ignore that or they're like, oh, well, I don't want to feel that way, and they don't connect to it. So I was connecting to it. Same thing with weed.
Mm.
What am I doing? Why am I doing this? Why? Like in the moment, bring that awareness to it. Like make it unpleasurable. Even though you're trying to do it for pleasure, make it unpleasurable because you're actually bringing awareness to the ridiculousness of it. The unneeded, there's no need. It's unnecessary. And it takes years. I'm not going to lie. I'm not
Yeah.
going to, and as a coach and a mentor, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that, uh, even in a 90-day program with me that it just happens like that. It doesn't. It's a process, but
Mm.
it starts with the awareness and it starts with the consistent attack and the one step forward, two steps back, or this I call it the spiral of life, right? You're ascending, but then some days you're descending, but it's a spiral. You're constantly coming back to the
Mm.
same things, you know? It's not this. Your growth and transformation is never going to be this. And so with porn, it was interesting because, well, I stopped watching porn, but I didn't stop jerking off because
Mm.
now, but so that's a step in the right direction, right? Like that's a level up. Like, hey man, I'm not watching porn anymore, but there's still an explorer page on Instagram that's going to show you a half naked girl shaking her ass. If you click on it once, and then there's going to be 10 more that flood your explorer page.
Yeah, that's
And then
fair.
next thing you know, you're like, well, I'm not going to a porn site, but I want to be visually stimulated while I play with myself. So that was part of a process. And then that was actually more of a if I was potentially talking to somebody about a video and it's like I can't click on my Explorer page right now because somebody's going to be like, yo, dude, like 90% of this is girls like just flaunting their bodies.
Yep.
for free, for one.
Yep.
And if people don't understand how important to the powers that shouldn't be it is for you to play with yourself and to just shoot your seed out, go click on one video on an Explorer page that has a girl showing her tits or flashing a bikini, and look how fast those other videos start showing up in your feed.
Yeah, it's
They want
wild.
you like that. I'd have to click 100 conspiracy videos to start getting those generated.
Yep.
I have to
Yeah.
click 100, self-help, 100 motivational before that starts being put into the Explorer page on my feed. But a girl who's literally doing nothing but wearing a bikini and bending over, shaking her ass in front of a camera,
Everywhere. I know.
hundreds of thousands of followers. I mean,
Mm,
look at OnlyFans. It's sad. It's really
it is.
sad. And so it's not really just about porn.
No.
It's about the lust. It's about the self pleasure. It's about releasing your seed. It's about objectifying women. It's about
Yeah.
thinking that your need to have an ejaculation and an orgasm is what drives the world and drives you.
Yeah.
It,
Fuck. So
it's
true.
because it's so much deeper.
Mm,
Porn is the symptom of what they want. Porn is like their mechanism.
mm.
It's not necessarily the problem. I mean, it is a problem, but the problem is a lot deeper than just, hey, well, I want to pleasure myself and watch two people have sex. No, it's a lot deeper than that, you know? And so that was part of the journey. And then it'd be like, oh, I haven't masturbated for a while. Then it was, oh, I'm not jerking off at all. But then I am, but I'm like edging, like, oh, don't
Oh,
ejaculate,
I did
right?
that.
Right? Like, oh, okay. Like, it's just so funny. It's like,
Yeah. The
however, let's think of it in terms of a program or a repetition or a behavior.
Oh, it's a lot of
I,
reps.
how many guys I literally, on average, at the least on average, masturbated every single day of my life
Me.
from the moment I was like 12 years old
Yeah.
up through my 30s.
Yeah. Oh, in every morning, every night. That was my way of going to sleep and waking up and starting the day, mate. I was doing that. I did that for. I'm a bit younger than you, but I did that for 20 years or so. Not 20,
Yeah.
nearly 20. Fuck,
Yeah.
bro.
Yeah. I did it for 20 plus years.
That's a lot of reps, bro. If we're talking about going to the gym
It's a
and going to a
lot of
mental
reps.
gym, that's a lot of bicep curls, bro.
Yeah. Yeah. Except unlike reps at a gym where you have something to show for it, it's the
Yeah.
opposite. Like you
Yeah.
have just been depleted. My one buddy and I were talking about this just the other day, and the idea of how much energy that would have still been inside of me, and who knows what it would have generated or what could have been done with it, versus, like you said, in a sock, on a napkin,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. I got a question for you. When I first started the semen retention journey was after the podcast I did with Nakula Dust that you probably are familiar with.
Yeah, I remember that
Yeah.
one. I watched it.
Yeah, it was a ripper. And then that started me on that journey. And then it took me a little bit because I was still doing the porn thing. And I noticed that when I ejaculated for the first time in 2 or 3 weeks, those days after, I was like, how do I function like this every day? I was tired. Like
Yeah.
I felt so tired. Like I was sleeping longer. I'm like, how did I function like this? Because I'm an early riser like your wife. And I was like, well, I'm staying in bed a bit longer. Like I was tired. Then you start
No,
thinking, okay, well, I'm actually feeling better without that. So when I'd go back, I'd go, fuck, my next 4 days now are a shit show. That's what got me out of it. It's like, well, I don't want to feel like that anymore because I was starting to see that, fuck, oh, geez, man, I was tired. How did you find those first few months when you'd go back? What was that like for
yeah,
you?
it's funny. It was immediate regret.
Yep.
That first was immediate, like, why did I, there was why, man, hitting ground, like hitting the reset, but like on any streak is never fun. But
Mm,
just immediate, like, that was so not worth it.
Yeah, shit.
Um, but I have a very habitual personality, if you will. And all it took was that one time again, and boom, I was right back into it. It was crazy. Right back into it. That was always what happened to me with weed too. I could go 6 months without smoking weed, smoke weed one day, boom, right back into it, smoking every day.
Yeah, you're back
I
in that
think that's common.
cycle. Mm.
Yeah, it's common for addictions or habits or
Yep.
programs. Obviously, we've talked about all that stuff.
Mm.
Um, but if you do that enough time with enough vices, you just, and like you said, you start to you identify with feeling better without those things, and you connect more with that than like what you think you're missing out on or what you remembered enjoying about it. Because a lot of times it's not chasing the dragon necessarily, but you just want to have what you had, but you can't anymore. When you get a taste for your life is actually better without it. And you
Mm.
connect with, well, then why would I do it? Actually a good one. Um, and Tanner's his name, right? Like
Yep.
Tanner, the other, yeah.
Mm.
So, because he plays video games a lot, right? Or he connects with the guys in video games, I think.
Yeah.
So one that I've used with a lot of my younger clients and older ones that ever played video games. This is the easy way to see, like, why would you ever do this? No one ever in the history of video games would literally make their character worse off before going into battle. Like, let me get less ammo. Let me make sure he has less life. Let me have, less experience points. And then I want to continue going on and doing what I'm doing. People take care of their video game characters better than their own life, which is real.
Oh, yeah.
Like, oh no, I would never do that, but you do it to yourself. Like, you make yourself worse off and live a real life and do things that you would never do to this video game character. That's so important. Wow, I got to get leveled up. Why don't you level up your real life?
Yeah.
If you wouldn't, it's like I've heard Jason say, if you wouldn't do it or give it to a 4-year-old, why would you do it to yourself? If you wouldn't do it to your video game avatar, why are you doing it to yourself? And that, I mean, again, back to self-sabotage. But so I connected with, wow, actually, no, I don't feel better because I smoke weed and it helps with my anxiety. Like, I have come full circle and I'm like, man, did I give myself all of that anxiety from smoking weed all the time at a young age?
Mm.
And I'm like, shit, I probably did.
Mm.
Because the last time I even came remotely close to having a panic attack again, because my big pain point was anxiety.
Yep.
I help people with anxiety because that's the thing that I lived through. And not just like some anxiety. I was in a state of panic, adrenaline coursing through my veins, sweaty palms, shaky body. Like, I never passed out or anything, but you would think I'm just a normal person, but inside was just a
Mm.
wreck.
Shit.
And for me, yes, it was linked to childhood
Mm.
and just the environment and then how I tried to manage that. That led to some OCDs and perfectionism. Like, hey, if I'm just perfect, then I'm not going to get yelled at. I'm not going to get hit, right? My family life will be better. I was the fourth of five. I tried to be the peacemaker. And who knows if that was just already part of who I am, but I link it to, no, I used to think, hey, guys, if we can all just don't do anything wrong, then what I called my psycho German father wouldn't, blow a
Mm.
gasket.
Mm.
Now, if you're 4, 5, 6, 7 years old starting to think like that, no one's perfect. You can't be perfect. And my dad's going to blow a gasket anyway. So, that then triggered or set the stage for some hyper focused self analytical guilt or shame or, hey, I need to be perfect. And then you get a little older and like you can't live like that. And then it generated ruminating thoughts. Like, I would get stuck on even a white lie. Like, why did I say that? Why that was bullshit. And it would eat me apart. And like, I was raised Roman Catholic, so it was this very like, oh, I need to confess.
Mm.
And so I would get stuck in these thought loops that then would generate panic attacks and anxiety. So it
Fuck.
was a weird type of anxiety that I had, where my anxiety was generated from a thought that I couldn't stop, or a regret, or a shame, or a guilt, and I couldn't stop it. And they would, next thing you know, I'd be like, yo, I just don't want to think of, and it would, I called it machine gun brain. And like, I'm a drummer, I'm a heavy metal drummer. So that's also a symptom of my brain. Like, yeah, I can do seven different things at once and play really fast because my brain was like, there's the, there's the calm finally.
Mm.
I'm an athlete, so I have a lot of energy. So there's things that are just built into my makeup combined with the environment and the programming that led to this anxiety. And so I got into that just because the last time that I even remotely came close to it was after I smoked weed. I was just laying in bed and I'm like, oh, I feel that coming on. And it's like literally just because there was weed in me. And what I've learned about poison, and that's my body saying, get this out.
Mm.
People think like, oh, I get paranoid when I smoke weed and I get anxiety. It's like, no, your anxiety is a reaction of your body saying, yo, I don't want this. I did not want this in me.
Correct.
Right? Because that same anxiety could be from too much caffeine, right? Or that same anxiety could be from a feeling, an energy. Yeah, I don't want it. I don't want that in me. So, and yeah, so you get to the point where I'm like, yeah, it was one thing to be the master deadly of the Crypt Keepers, the white rap group that we all rap about smoking weed like Cypress Hill, and I'm habitually rolling up weed and weed, and it helped me with my anxiety. And I need to be a proponent and say, no, weed is medicine. You assume an avatar, a character. And it was all bullshit. I'm here to tell people, especially if you're a daily weed smoker, it's bullshit. bull shit. I'm
Yeah.
telling you. Because I smoked weed for the first time Halloween night when I was 13. And it took me into my 40s to
Yet.
accept and realize that it absolutely was not necessary and didn't do me any favors.
Wow.
I say that with confidence.
Mm.
A guy who was literally championing the cause, a proponent, like making all the posts on Facebook about weed is good and this is why weed is demonized and it's better than alcohol. And Jason Christoff really helped me with that one because he was always anti-weed. And I even was like, well, maybe he's not right about that one. And no, he was right.
Yeah.
He was right.
Yeah.
I finally came along.
Yeah.
And now don't get me wrong. Like I went away with some friends. I smoked weed back in February, that Friday and Saturday night, hanging out with my buddies. But I didn't come home and then start smoking weed every day again. Like I'm taking the garbage out. I need to smoke. Oh, I'm going to the gym. I need to smoke. Oh, I got done with the workout. It's like, no, I just don't do it anymore. And my dreams, I don't know. I don't want to make this about weed, but, in terms of that age group that we're maybe targeting with the porn or, boys becoming men, you just don't need this stuff. You don't need to go get smashed on alcohol to have a good time. You don't need alcohol to open up and feel like, well, now I can be who I really am. No,
Yes. That's a big one too.
it's a huge
Mm.
one.
Mm.
Um,
It's all there already. It's all there within you. You don't need any substance or any external thing to give you what you already have.
yeah, I think that's just a hard lesson.
Mm.
But there's nothing wrong with that being part of your journey and your life. It
Correct.
may take some time, but that's what life's about. It's about, I really do believe that you almost have to have a rebirth or born again. Like for me, that it's not a religious thing, but that motif of being born again, I think is when the boy becomes the man. When you are born out of those programs or those beliefs
I
that
agree.
you thought made you who you were, and it was outside of you, and it's like, no, it's really just getting connected to who you actually are. But that is so deep and buried, right? But it's deep in terms of the root, right? Like you are who you are the day you're born.
Mm.
And then what happens? Society, powers that shouldn't be, architects of doom, poison, programming, all just kind of like corrode the terminals on the battery or they fog up the window. And next thing you know, you don't even, you can't see it. You're not connected to it. And so the rebirth or that boy to man for me, the way I look at it in my own life was cleaning off the window, right? Oh, I see it. I can see it. Or I hear it, right? Getting things quiet. I hear it actually. And then knowing that it's deep in here and you got to go digging and it's like cleaning out a closet, man. Get that out of here, you know? And then when you can see it and feel it and connect to it, it's like, oh man. And I would have died without that. I would have died just like with that music and fire still in me, never knowing that that's really who I am. And that's why I'm so big with the statement, it's never too late to become who you're meant to be. And I didn't even get into martial arts till I was 30.
Yeah, right.
It's literally my avatar now. I'm a Brazilian jiu-jitsu black belt. I fought Muay Thai in Thailand. Like I did some crazy stuff. I bought a one-way ticket to Thailand and just stayed there for 3 months training Muay Thai. Like as a 30-year-old, where people are like, yo, what's Matty doing, man? Has he lost his mind? And but no, I was born again. I reinvented myself to become who I was supposed to be all along. Because now doing what I do and where I'm at, absolutely this is who I was supposed to be. And it could have died without ever happening. And when you are on the path of becoming who you're supposed to be and you know it, you'll always wish you started sooner.
Oh, 100%.
Like
I
you'll
was the
just
same.
always wish. And you can't like have that hold that against yourself.
Nah.
I call it the negative compounding interest. You don't want to negatively impact good decisions by wishing you started sooner
Mm.
and then get fixated on that. Just be grateful that you did start and you did
Yeah.
answer the
And
call.
be grateful for all the things that you went through to lead you to that point. No, for me, I
100%.
fell through a table talking to three young girls. That stopped me from doing my lifestyle.
Yeah.
It's
No,
like I
your
was
story is great
I was
and your
grateful for those the
transformation is awesome.
opportunity. Yeah, it's been and I know I'm a bit younger than you, but like I look at the teenagers now and the young people that I help, and I'm saying the same thing to them. I'm like, geez, if I was your age, like if I had what I had then at that age, like I wouldn't have been doing the things I was doing. But then I shifted it and went, well, no, I'm actually grateful for those experiences because each experience shaped who I am now.
Yeah.
I just had to
Well,
fall through a table to just get it.
yeah, yeah. And that's really a very important staple of any type of self-growth or
Yeah.
transformation is that ability to honestly have gratitude for everything. Like I
Yeah.
was talking about my childhood programming and I I cleaned that slate and I have nothing but gratitude. The father I am, sure, the child that I was wished he had a different father and a different experience. But that same experience is what made me the father I am in a different roundabout way. Like, don't do that. I wish I had this, so I'm going to give it to my son
Love that.
instead of like, the mirroring and right. Because there's two ways that you can become who you're supposed to be. You are mirroring and mimicking what you were programmed, or you were programmed a certain way that you're going to do the exact opposite.
Mm.
You know what I mean? And
Yep.
like I I I think it's way more prevalent that people just do what they were programmed by mirroring and mimicking. And it took me because that was hard work. Like that was some deep, I was already on a spiritual path. I was already like really questioning things where I said, nah, man, I need to forgive my dad. My dad was just doing
Oh,
what he did. Like
yeah.
I don't need to go have a talk with him as an adult and take out the clipboard and be like, hey man, this is fucked up. No, it was not that needed to be done at
Powerful.
all. It was me just releasing this idea of me being a victim. Yeah, like, like that's it.
Yeah. That's
And
oh,
yeah,
I
It,
feel
it
that.
was it was it was huge. That was big for me, and I'm so grateful that I did that before he died. Um, and I did it pretty early in terms of like my dad became one of my best friends. Like my dad, I just loved him, and he was funny, and like I wanted to be around him. Like so many other people would say, "Oh wow, you still hang out with your parents?" I'm like, "Yeah, I love hanging out with my parents. You know, they're awesome." And that's coming from a 14-year-old who, up until he was 16, didn't even make eye contact with the man because I hated his guts, literally. And I needed to learn how to drive. And my dad was the only one who was going to teach me. And so I said, well, I at least need to look at him and sit in a car with him. And, but that didn't change the relationship. So to grow up literally thinking you hate someone and then to say, wow, I love this man. He's awesome. There's a release and a lot of work that took place. And I mean it. I mean it. It wasn't a fake it till you make it. Maybe at first, but and don't get me wrong, it was painful and rough to still wake up from a dream that I'm cursing him out, telling him what a bad daddy is or was, fighting him as an adult, thinking that you got over it. So yeah, that was kind of a all right, man. Sometimes you think you're at a spot and maybe you're not. But again, that's deep stuff. When you're having dreams, that's deep.
Yes.
So, and I'm a prolific dreamer, profound dreamer.
Same,
I don't
bro.
know. I'm very connected to my dream world and my
Same.
dream state.
Same.
And it's given me answers. It's dictated behaviors. It's become prophecy. I've dreamt things that then I'm not deja vu. I'm like, oh my God, like that was a dream.
I've dreamt this conversation.
Hey, awesome.
Just of what you said for the last 5 minutes nearly had me in tears.
Yeah, it's a lot of tears were shed. A lot of tears were shed. And
That's powerful for
I,
men, bro.
well, it's almost kind of, I say it like this. And my children, my son, there's two things that you see a baby do that they start doing, and you don't even know why they're doing it. They cry and they laugh.
Yeah.
So I always tell people, don't ever hold back laughter. Don't ever hold back tears.
Love that.
Men don't really have a hard time holding back laughter so much,
No.
right? In fact, it becomes more funny if we do, like when your buddies in school, you're like, right? Like, but you should just be able to laugh. If it's funny, you should be able to just laugh. But crying, ooh, how many boys know about that little feeling in the throat when
Yeah.
it's no, I'm not gonna cry. It's like imagine going into a sauna and saying, oh, I'm not gonna sweat. It's like, bro, it's called working out. Sweat is worked out of you. Sweat has it's what's inside. They call it working out for a reason. They say cry it out. Get it. Sweat and tears are basically the same.
Mm.
So you have to cry. Like boys, please, men, if you're not crying, oof, man, you are
Mm.
bottled up and
Yeah.
and you are not connected to your highest calling.
No, agreed.
And I get it sometimes at the gym. So like I still I'll be like, oh shit, no, don't cry, man. You're up there in front of
Same.
your class, like about to, but like I'm sometimes so grateful, or I'll be talking about where I've come from, or I see the transformation in one of my students, and it just fills me up with so much joy and emotion
Love it, bro.
that it's like, whoa, I could cry right now.
Mm.
And so I think I don't want to like be a hypocrite, but I mean when you're emotionally sad, you have to cry. If you're like, hey man, maybe I don't want to cry in front of these people because I'm so happy right now. Maybe it's okay to say, all right, well, hold on a second, man. I don't want to start shedding a tear over this. But even that, why? Why? Like I'm so like analytical. It's like even saying it's like, no, why? Why not?
Yeah.
What difference does it make? Why not? Why not cry in front of my students so they know how emotionally charged up I am about that? What's the point? What's the point of not crying? So yeah, stuff like that, I think, is part of the boy to man. Like we're tricked into thinking men are these emotionless
100%
rocks
here.
of just I am who I am and the way I am is who I am. Take it or leave it, and I'm strong. It's all peacocking, as I call it, and
Yeah.
posturing. And how do men let you really know, or boys, right? Because I'm very particular about that, boys or men. How do boys let you know when they are having some emotions? They peacock. They put it on display. The door gets closed a little harder. You know, they're a little more short with you with their words. Their facial expressions change. The drawer gets shut harder. Their feet stomp around. They peacock. They
Mm.
let you know that I'm emotionally charged up right now, rather than just processing, communicating, evaluating, questioning. No, let me put it on display and, like a bullet coming out of a chamber of a barrel, or a bullet coming out of a barrel, whatever happens, happens.
Yeah. That's so true.
So
I could,
that's a lot of the work that I've been doing.
same, bro.
And triggers or teachers is a big one for
Yep.
me.
Yep. They are.
Respond rather than react.
Correct.
Um,
That's the real work right there.
and that's been going on for years now. So it
Same,
never
bro.
stops. It's a
No.
summitless mountain. I tell people all the time, it is a summitless mountain.
Because when you
But if you
think you've
just,
it was when you think you've worked on something or you feel like, oh, that's good now, fucking bang, you get the test and then you're like, oh, I still feel that. And it's like, yeah, just
yep,
go a bit deeper, bro.
yep,
Yeah.
absolutely. And because the saying triggers or teachers follows teachers give tests. So,
Yep.
and for me, I use an analogy with triggers is you don't eliminate triggers. You can't. You always will be triggered. But the
Correct.
trigger is attached to a gun that needs to have a bullet in a chamber or a bullet in a magazine. And that magazine could either be, a single fire, it could be a semi-automatic, it could be an Uzi, it could be a machine gun. Like the degree to which you react and the outcome of a trigger is in your control based on the work you can do, to the point where you literally disarm yourself. Whereas the trigger gets pulled, but nothing's happening. There's no bullet coming out.
Yeah, well said.
I'm disarmed.
Mm.
That's where you're responding. That's where you've really
Yep.
done the work and elevated your consciousness to responding to a trigger with the choice that brings you the best outcome, as opposed to a reaction that is just founded in some program or belief that
It's not even
is out
yours.
of your control,
Yeah.
right?
Well said. Matty, that's been over an hour now. Can you believe how quick that's
Yeah,
gone?
I know it's crazy, man.
Yeah.
We'll have to do it a third time,
We're gonna
right?
have to
The
do
rubber
it. Yeah, we
match.
are. I can see us doing this a bit more regularly than every 2 years, mate.
Yeah, I would love to, man. I would love
Matty,
to. I
where
think
can oh before we go there, is there to wrap all this up, like we've gone to some really awesome places today. Like you nearly brought me to tears and just listening to you talk then really helped me too. And I'm really grateful for your time today. And my audience will be as well, especially the young boys that listen. If there's a piece of advice out there that might have already said it, piece of advice out there for a young man or whoever's listening, what can they do to start their journey, mate, in terms of everything we spoke about today?
one of the hardest things, so in terms of advice, you're not alone and people
Love
want to
that.
help you.
Yeah.
People want to help you. There are people out there that want to help. Be
Mm.
receptive to help. Allow yourself to take on information and guidance from somebody other than yourself. And just be open to that. Because for me, it's just wild, um, how closed off people are to receiving help from others for whatever reason, especially boys and men. I'm
Mm.
supposed to have it figured out. No. So be open to that. And then I would say you got to be physically active.
Yeah.
I think I don't care what you're working on, what your pain point is, where you are in your life. You're a boy who's supposed to become a man, and you got to remember that that requires physical activity and challenges on the body and the mind.
Yeah.
And there is no way around that. And just look at the the feminization of the man in society and the beta male and this idea of toxic masculinity. Look at the attack on the man and know that that means that's how valuable it is. So you're born, you're here, you got to take that and do something with it. And if you're not, you're you're giving a big F you to yourself and the creator and like you're just life. So I say that as a athlete, as a coach, but also as somebody that has seen physical activity change the lives of people that were never active, but just started for the first time. And, oh no, I wasn't an athlete. Oh no, I was a wimpy kid, or I haven't gone for a run. And it's like, just start, go to a gym. You don't know how to lift weights? There's so many resources.
Yeah, there is.
ChatGPT is free. Download ChatGPT and say, I'm 16 years old. I've never worked out a day in my life. I want to go to a gym for 30 minutes. Please tell me what I should do. And ChatGPT will tell you exactly what to do.
It's true.
So like it's never been easier to receive help and guidance. But in a weird inverted world, I've never seen so much resistance given to people trying to help.
Mm, mm.
Maybe that's me. Maybe that's the frustrated coach in me. Maybe that's the
Yeah.
frustrated, like people people answer my calls to action and then it's just like whoosh, nothing, or they get to the spot and then it's like, oh no, well, I'm not really going to do that. I don't know. But I've never seen it seem to be more like readily available and not engaged with. I don't know.
Mm,
Maybe it's a supply and a demand thing. I don't know.
mm.
But people would rather stay where they are and be connected to their suffering rather than step into discomfort to end suffering. Like
Correct.
people are comfortable with suffering when you can just get comfortable with being uncomfortable while you work towards things that require work, right? Like it wasn't fun or easy getting
No.
a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu all the time. I got smashed. I got destroyed on the mats. Surgeries, injuries, blood, sweat, tears. But it made me who I am.
Mm.
And or I could have just been that same 30-year-old that was drinking, smoking, jerking off, and eating whatever he wanted. Yeah, that's life. Yeah, that's cool. That's why I'm here. That's why I was a man. No, no way, boys. Uh-uh. So yeah, I don't know. That was a long-winded answer,
I
a
love it
piece of
though.
advice, but start doing something. Start
I
doing something
agree.
physically active. The rest will follow.
So
Like, because
true.
Nathan, real quick, you could just say, I mean, that's one of the things that you started doing. How much of a change has that made for you
Oh,
getting into a
huge.
gym and starting to work out?
Huge. In the last 3 years, I've done it. It's huge. Like I was the skinny kid, right? That was like my identity. I couldn't do a push up, couldn't do a chin up. Fucking look at me now. Go on my social
Yeah,
media, my gym videos. I'm fucking doing chin ups and shit now. It's not
it's
hard.
awesome.
I just started. Like I had to have a mate hold me up. I couldn't even use the TheraBand. Now I'm doing it on
Wow.
my own.
Yeah.
Hold myself up. You know what I mean? Like just
Yeah.
start. So
Because
fucking true.
that does so much more for your mind and your mindset and the way you're going to live your life as a result of that progression.
Yeah, it filters out in every area of my life. It's like, well, I've started from ground zero before. I've done it in the gym. It's like, well, okay, I'll start from ground zero anywhere and I'll fucking get there
Yep.
because I've already got
Yep.
there myself.
Yep.
It's like I've proven it to myself already. Like it's like the evidence, it's already there. So many
Yep.
challenges come from the gym, you know what I mean? Like even when you're feeling like you can lift that and then it's like, okay, we'll go a bit heavier. Now it's like, all right, well, those challenges are still there. You know what I mean? Like it's just
Yep.
it's never ending, but it's like I prove to myself every time that I can do it. And I'm like, fuck it. You know what I mean? Like I say to myself when I'm, those. those real ugly reps where you get to your 10 or your 11 and you're like, fuck, like you got two to go, but you fucking can't. It's like, well, you're going to fucking do it or you're just going to sit there and whinge about it. It's like, no, 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 I'm just going to push that thing
Yeah,
up. You know what I
yeah.
mean? Just fucking get it up.
I did my first muscle up like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
It took me a year. It took me a year of specifically training to do a muscle up, to get the strength, to get the technique.
What's the muscle up for those that don't know? Push up.
A muscle up is a pull up, and then you pull up over the bar and you press.
Oh,
So
shit.
you're
That's my next step.
yeah, yeah, no, those are, I mean, muscle ups are legitimate sign
That's my
hard
next
work and
level up
strength.
now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Go just type in like muscle up routine or
I'm
practice and
gonna.
watch it. It took me a long, but the feeling was so amazing,
I bet.
right? And when I finally got my first muscle up, it was like, oh, like a kid on Christmas. It's just awesome.
That was like me, my first chin up. My first proper
Yeah,
chin up
yeah,
on my own without a TheraBand or a help or anything. I was like, fuck yeah. I get three more of these things before I fucking fall over.
yep.
Awesome conversation, mate. Just to wrap it up, where can people find you if they're new to my show, new to you? Where can we
Yeah.
find you?
So, um, Matty Denz on Facebook. My Facebook is linked to my Instagram, so all my reels will go there. But I tend to sometimes post some stuff just on Instagram or just on Facebook. So Matty Denz on Instagram can get you there, but my username is Master Deadly, Masta Deadly. Um, all of my links are on my Instagram. So I have a school community called The Healthy Truth.
Ah, yes.
That's an online community, free trial for a week, and then it's only $19 a month. I do coaching calls Monday nights in there, and then that's also personal access to me because my DMs get flooded. So if you're in the community there, you can rap with me all the time, DM me and whatnot.
Yep.
Um, and yeah, that's pretty much it. My
Put a link to all of that in the show notes, Maddie, too. We'll get the links and
Okay.
put them. So they'll be in the show notes, Maddie's school group, and everything you just said there will be
Yeah.
in the show
Yeah,
notes.
my a free 15-minute call if you want, my calendar, I'll give you my booking call.
Yeah, put that in there too.
Um, yep, that's me.
Love it, Maddie.
I'm here to help.
Took us 2 years to do another one, and here we are.
Well, at an hour and a half and 2 years later, I imagine we have plenty more we could talk about. So
Oh, mate, we
I'm
could
happy
keep
to do it
going.
again, brother.
We will, and we're not going to wait 2 years.
No,
We'll
definitely
circle
not.
back in a few months, I reckon.
Definitely not.
Maddie, thanks so much for jumping on today. That was a really, really deep conversation. You only brought me to tears there. So, yeah, I'll tell you
That's awesome.
off air what's going on about that. But
All right.
this has been the Breaking Free
Appreciate it.
podcast. Maddie and I are out. Thank you so much again, Maddie, and I'll talk to you all again soon. Cheers.